just love the sights and sounds of spring.
I love spring. It's not quite spring yet, but what are your favorite things of spring?
Well, the sound of the birds and all the beautiful flowers.
Everybody knows you love flowers. It's got to be something else.
And baseball spring training.
Hey, be out to the ball game.
Well, since we're talking about spring of 2023, nothing says that better than going back and looking at what we did in 2022 in this crazy RV lifestyle that we live. So since we're talking about baseball, how about we call our favorite things hits?
Wow! How far is that one gonna go?
And our least favorite things, which would be our misses.
Bottom of the ninth. And that'll do it.
So let's take you back to 2022 and show you our hits and our misses. So the first hit is we went and wintered in Rockport, Texas. We love the campground that we're in. We love the surrounding areas that we were in. The USS Lexington is based there, so that was great to see that.
Convenient to Corpus Christi, which was really nice.
Right. Beaches you can drive on. That was awesome as well, so that's definitely a hit. So that whole Rockport, Corpus Christi area is good. One of the coolest things was Pier 77 restaurant. A little hole in the wall. You're a big fried shrimp person.
They had the best fried shrimp I've ever had, ever.
We ate it one night. We split it because we got there. We got two salads. We split the fried shrimp, and we actually had enough left. And you know, I'm not a slight eater, and we had enough left over to actually have it for another meal. So we decided to leave Rockport and go to Ocala, just because the weather was going to be a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And we really loved Ocala. We stayed at the Ocala RV North Resort. We'll put a link up here for that particular video. But what was your favorite part of Ocala? I think I know. What did you get for Christmas?
Oh, my paddleboard, because we visited so many of the natural springs that are in the central Florida area.
Yeah, I think there's something like 29 springs, and we got a chance to visit, I think, 3. Then we did Silver Springs twice. So definitely I would say that Ocala is a hit, and Ocala North Resort is a hit, and the springs are definitely a hit.
Definitely. So after we left Florida, we headed back to Texas and visited with our family and friends, and began to make our way north up to the Black Hills. The Black Hills were definitely considered a hit for us because, first of all, we had an amazing time, some amazing places that we'd never been before. I had the opportunity to go and visit with a longtime friend who lives there, and a very good longtime friend from Texas came and met us, which was so much fun. Just there's so much to see up there. We had Devil's Monument, we had Mount Rushmore, and of course the Needles Highway, and it just goes on. And another highlight for us for the Black Hills area was meeting up with our new friends, Katrina and Chris from our Everyday Getaway. So if you haven't already started to follow their channel, you might check them out too, because they're awesome. They have lots of fun and entertaining content.
So right after Black Hills, most amazing thing, I think, probably for the summer and the most epic trip for us was going to Glacier.
Yeah, that was definitely our highlight of the whole year's trip. Although all the other places were fantastic, but that was definitely our highlighted trip.
Yeah, just one of the most grandiose places, I think, in America that we've ever seen. And it was great. And it was actually even better because we got to meet 2 of our really close friends from Texas, Mark and Stacy Dodd. We've known the Dodds for over 20 some odd years, and we lived in our house there in Allen. And
we talked about going to Glacier with them for a number of years, and you know, finally we made that happen. So that was awesome.
Yeah, timing worked out good. So specifically in Glacier, that was probably, we'll have to say is a hit, is seeing a grizzly bear, you know, in the wild.
Yeah.
It was probably 500 yards away. It was just amazing to see her and her cub. And we're just thankful that Mark, our friend, didn't get clawed because he got really close to the bear.
He had a lot more nerve than we did, and he got closer.
I don't think he actually went specifically to get that close to the bear. He just wound up that close to the bear.
And we missed Stacy because she had actually turned out to be a stress fracture, so she didn't get to hike hike with.
The Grinnell Glacier hike was great. Avalanche Lake hike was great. Certainly do those. We didn't do all the hikes, but there's so many more in Glacier. The Highline, I think they call it the Highline Trail, was closed. And speaking of closed, when we got there in July, going to the Sun Road just opened up. I mean, literally 2 days after we got there. So if you are going to go to Glacier, just be cognizant that, you know, snow may not be off of Logan Pass until mid-July. I'm not sure how that varies year to year, but for 2022,
Well,
it was
I'm pretty
mid-July.
sure that it never goes away at some of those elevations, but we at least got to go, you know, on the going to the Sun Road all the way through.
Yeah, just the road itself and just, you know, going through, you know, all the way. So that was great. Whitewater rafting, never done it before. It was awesome. And I think that particular place we went to, it gave you just enough exhilaration of being, you know, some pretty significant rapids and just being safe enough that you didn't take your life in your hands.
Well, Mark and Stacy have done it a number of times. We were novices, so we were, you know, being on the more cautious side, I guess you could say, and it was perfect for us.
Yeah, we stayed at Columbia Falls RV Park, which we liked. It was convenient. It's on the West Glacier side. Two things to note about Glacier is that on the West Glacier side, a lot more to do, a lot more restaurants. The town of Columbia Falls is right there. A lot more RV parks. On the east side in St. Mary's is a little bit more rustic, I guess you can say. Not as many RV places, not as many places to visit. They do say you might see more wildlife on the east side, which makes sense just because there's less people around. But if you are looking to go to Glacier, do some research and realize, you know, the differences of the two sides, the two directions of Glacier.
And of course the reservation system that I'm pretty sure is going to stay in place for that part for this next year.
Yeah. Glacier, definitely. I would say if we're going to say, you know, was it in the hits parlance, was it a base hit? Second, you know, was it a double? Was it a triple?
Home run.
That was a home run by far. A home run by far. So maybe even a walk-off home run as well. So
Goldschmidt hits it out to left, and this will do it. And he does it in grand style. It's a grand slammer. A walk-off grand slam.
all right, let's go to the next one. So on our way to Glacier, we stopped at a harvest house called the Silver Knot, and it was amazing. I'll post a link to the video up here. And it's a harvest house that's really a wedding venue. She's got 13 spots there, and she really did us a solid. Tracy, if you're watching the video, thank you so much. Again, we had an issue with our inverter while we were scheduled for one night to be there on our way to Glacier. The next weekend, we didn't have a place to stay. We picked out two other harvest hosts, and one harvest host, one boondockers welcome. And unfortunately, they weren't going to let us run a generator in the one harvest host, and the other boondockers welcome only had 15 amp service. So we just thought that was going to be an issue. We told Tracy what was going on, and she said, you know what, you guys come on back here and stay the weekend. So we did, and it's just the most magnificent harvest host I think I've ever seen. Again, you can see by the video, and it's called the Silver Knot, and the wedding venue in Ronan, Montana, Michigan, Missouri. How many states have we been in? So Ronan, Montana, the Silver Knot, just awesome place. Ask her Tracy, and she's listed in the Harvest Host if you guys are members to Harvest Host.
As you know, Montana is a really big state, and we spent a lot of time there and covered a lot of territory.
Well, we stayed at 4 different places: the Glacier, Bitterroot Valley, Paradise Valley. But we want to call out one specific place, which really isn't epic, and maybe not even on many people's radar, and that's a town called St. Regis.
Yeah, it's in the kind of northwest corner. No, it's not really northwest.
Well, it's western. It's right off of I-90. It's a western part of the state. It's about 90 miles east of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And just, again, place where a lot to do. Not an epic place. Probably is not on a lot of people's radar. But two things I think really stood out. Well, three things really stood out about that. Just the rivers. And there were so many rivers that we got to explore, swim in, do some hiking in. The bike trail you wanted to do.
Oh, Hiawatha, yes, that was amazing. Rail to trail, 15-mile bike ride, and that was my first, or our first rail to trail bike ride, and I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you start like right on the Montana-Idaho border, and I think you spend most of the time in Idaho. But just a great trip, and I guess the last thing was, I shouldn't say the last thing, the Nugget RV Resort. In fact, I actually just saw that they were in the running for one of the top RV resorts in the country, and I did vote for you guys, so hopefully you guys do well with that. But right in St. Regis, Good place. I mean,
Conveniently located. You're not far from Missoula, which I flew out of the airport there, so that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, to go.
But one of the highlights was meeting another couple that they're a YouTube couple, kind of like Ken and I, and Terry and Mark Nesbitt, and they are with Next Trekking Adventure.
yeah, so go check out their channel. So again, if you're in that part of the state and you want to go check out something that's, you know, really unique and again not necessarily epic in terms of on the radar, go check out St. Regis and go check out the Nugget RV Resort.
Although Glacier National Park was definitely our epic destination for this past year's travel, certainly it wasn't our most epic event, and that would be the wedding for our youngest daughter.
Yeah, Madison got married in Colorado in September, and what a great environment it was, a great venue. We had people traveling from all over the country, family and friends, and so those of you that are watching, we certainly thank you for that. And not easy to get to, but what a great time to see. You know, it's just some of her friends that we haven't seen in a long time, our friends we haven't seen in a long time, family, both sides. It was at a great venue right outside of Boulder. Just a great place, a great wedding. We had great weather for it, except for the rain that happened right. They said their I-do's, it started raining, and we peeled out of there for 5 minutes, and it was great. But clearly, one of the top the top thing that we did in 2022.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So after we left the wedding in Colorado, we headed over to Utah. Finally, we just always wanted to go there as well. I'd been there before on business. Pam's never been.
No, first time.
So we had 3 places planned to go to Utah, and there's so much more to do, but we were going to Moab Arches and then on to Bryce Canyon. We didn't get to Zion. We'll talk about that in the miss hits, and some of you may know why, but let's talk about Arches and Moab. Just what a cool, very cool place.
Very, very cool. We learned that to really appreciate that area, you need an off-road vehicle, which we don't have right now.
We have one, but it's not really the best shape to do anything like that, and we didn't have it with us. Mountain biking is a big thing, but just the hiking in general. There's just hikes everywhere as well, and of course Arches National Park. And we stayed at a Sun Valley resort, and so that was right there by the gate of Arches. And yeah, what a great place. I would say that if you were going to Arches, you probably 2 days in Arches. If you're going to Moab, you know, certainly maybe more than that if you're into those other things. But definitely, I would say Moab was a hit.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. Bryce Canyon is where we headed to next after Moab, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to really do much in Bryce. We'll show some of the video that we did, but because that'll be covered in the mishap, not because of Bryce Canyon or Utah, but because of something that happened to our condo in Bonita Springs, Florida, which is where we are right now, trying to recover things. And beautiful place. So yeah, two things in Utah that you should definitely check out. I would say a hit, definitely a hit, and I would say that was probably a triple, if not close to a home run, but we'll go with a solid triple.
Sandoval, high and deep to right, and off the bricks. Benson's going to score. The Panda is headed for 3. He's going to make it.
Well, we finished up the year in one of our favorite places where we are again right now, but this is a different favorite place in the state of Florida. This is the Florida Panhandle, which is, if you saw the last video about Topsail and St. Andrews, the most beautiful beaches in the state by far. That's our opinion. As we said, maybe people in Siesta Key might say no to that, but we love the beaches in the Panhandle. So I had a chance to stay at those 2 wonderful state parks. And big fish just jumped right there.
Some big fish around here. and another exciting thing that we had the opportunity to do is to meet up with one of our longtime subscribers, Vicky and Bruce.
Yeah, they happen to be staying at Topsail. They saw our Instagram post, and so they reached out to us, and we had a great time with them, spent a couple days. So check out that video, the St. Andrews and the Topsail. Topsail is just by far has got to be one of the best, if not the best state park we've ever stayed at, maybe in the country as well. So check out that video.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable.
First and foremost had to be when we were in Bryce Canyon and we were tracking Hurricane Ian, and that came to visit our place in Bonita Springs where we are here. And so we did have some damage, and I think you all saw some video in there. But you know, these things happen, but it didn't get hurt as bad as maybe some others certainly. But I will tell you that Bryce was beautiful, and that should be a hit. but the fact that we had to leave Bryce so early made it a miss hit for us. What do you think?
Absolutely. But, you know, this too shall pass, as they say, and
It's coming back.
yeah,
Yeah,
good as new.
We'll show you some video here and coming up about just Bonita Springs and how it's actually coming back. So that's that was one thing. So when we were in the Panhandle of Florida, we were going back to we were there between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we had to drop the RV off and store it as we headed back to Dallas, and I didn't really winterize the rig. I drained the hot water heater, but sorry, we're getting some bugs out here. No CMs are eating us alive. But we did. We had to go back to Dallas. I emptied the hot water heater, but we didn't realize just how cold it was going to get in the Panhandle of Florida, and so it was going to get down to the teens. And so we drove from Defuniak Springs, which is just north of Destin, all the way to Monroe, Louisiana. And I got up the next morning, and I'm just like, I think we've got to go back. So we backtracked 350 miles.
Yeah, it was a 700-mile mistake.
Yeah, for sure. But what I did is I got back and we took out the Viera compressor, and then we blew out the lines, and everything was cool at that point. So because it did get really cold, I think in Dallas it got down in 9 degrees right before Christmas, and in the Panhandle it got down. Man, these bugs are crazy. It got down to about 18 degrees or something like that. So yeah, definitely a miss hit. Well, so another miss hit, I guess you would say, is although it was a lot of fun when we did the rafting trip outside of Missoula with our people that we met in Montana, Shane and Michelle, I got tossed out of the raft.
The only person it was a miss hit for was...
It was really me. I mean, we did the whitewater rafting, and I stayed in the boat the whole time, and I did the basically easy rafting trip that we did.
I think they called them like -1 or -1 rapids.
Yeah, they were not big, but we did hit one, and if you do watch that video, you will hear that Shane, who's the experienced captain of the rafting, said, "Oh, something," right before we hit the rapids. I think he realized that we were in trouble, so that was definitely one.
That was fun.
That was another miss.
I mean, he was obviously scared because, you know, he didn't know what was under, and there were a lot of boulders hidden in those waters as we started moving much faster.
Yeah, I was concerned about getting my foot
and he was
caught.
hanging on to the side, but he didn't get hurt, so
not
all was good.
Not a bad thing. Another thing, and this really impacted all RVers for 2022, and that was the price of diesel was just outrageous. Outrageous. I think
it continues to be.
And it continues to be. I mean, I think the year before we were complaining because we were in Illinois and it was $3.49 a gallon, when right across the river in Clinton, Iowa, it was $2.89 a gallon for diesel. Remember those days? And yeah, we were paying high 4s, low 5s, mid 5s, I guess, in some places for diesel. So that clearly was a miss hit and a bummer, really, for all RVers. And the last thing, and this is not really RV related specific, but it is kind of fascinating because Pam and I have both had COVID before when we lived in our house, and we both got it about the same time. This time we got COVID in 2 different times, in 2 different places, living in a 310 square foot RV. So I got it in Rockport in February. Pam didn't get it.
I didn't get it. I got it. I had it again in September.
Well, no, you had it in Glacier.
It was in July.
Yeah, it was
right.
It was
End
in Glacier.
of July in Glacier.
Yeah, because she was saying in Glacier as we were hiking how she was out of breath, and the altitude in Glacier is really not that bad for hiking, not like what we've done in Colorado where you start at 10,000 feet plus. And she just was like, man, I'm really out of breath. Well, turns out she wound up contracting COVID, and I didn't get it after that. So.
And thank goodness our friends Mark and Stacy, who had been staying with us during that time and hiking and, you know, doing all the sightseeing stuff together.
Didn't get it.
Thank goodness none of them got it. But anyway, you know, it wasn't too bad.
Well, it wasn't too bad. It was like a major cold for both of us. So anyway, that wraps up 2022. Sorry for the light. We kind of ran out of light here, and had to sort of improvise.
The air is bright.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just misses beautiful Bonita Springs sunset. So anyway, wraps up 2022. Love to see what you guys did in 2022 and hear comments about your hits and your miss hits. And as usual, if you like our channel, you like what we're doing here, you like the content that we provide, and if you don't, tell us. But if you do, then we'd love for you to join a journey with us and subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the bell, do those things, and share it with some friends, because we would love them to join the journey and hit the road with us as well. We'll catch you on the next video.
Thanks for watching.
Team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
You know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wow. How far is that one going to go?